Hey everyone, and welcome back to Let's Talk About It, the podcast. I'm your girl, Twana Yvonne, but everybody calls me TJ. I like it. It's so much easier to say and spell. And so we are kicking off another episode here where we dive into HR topics, how to navigate workplace challenges, and also how to climb the career ladder. We talk about a little bit of pop culture and usually talk about an HR or a Black-owned business you should know and you should go. Now, before we get into today's show, it is a special show. It's a bittersweet show. I'm going to bring in my co-host, the fabulous Miss Shatema Grisham, CEO of Procure Talent. How are you, Shatema?
I am wonderful.
You are?
Yes, bittersweet, but I'm good.
I know, bittersweet, y'all. I've got to share some news with y'all. Miss Shatema is recording her last episode as co-host.
Yes.
We'll say that, as co-host, because she's got some big things popping. Y'all probably saw her on social. And so go ahead, Shatema, tell the people all the stuff and what's happening.
For sure. Well, first of all, thank you, TJ. Thank you for the opportunity to co-host. We manifested this a year before it actually came together. And when you asked me to co-host, I'm like, okay, this is exactly what I was looking for when I tried to venture out by myself and needed some help with getting moving. So 2 years in, a lot of episodes down. It's been an adventure, and we have pivoted, I think, really well in this space from where we started. So thank you for the opportunity. It is true. I am moving on from the podcast as a co-host, but that doesn't mean you won't see me back in this seat.
That's
we might take it over as TJ moves around this world. She'll be in these streets, you guys, moving. So I will be back for sure, not as a guest or a host. But ideally, it was because Procure Talent Management Group, my company that I founded in 2020, is picking up. We did a strategize on reformatting, going back to where we started, which was talent solutions. The last 2 or 3 years, we went heavy into HR consulting when really the butter and the sweet spot was the talent solutions piece. It's more of a passion to help job seekers and to get them with companies that are actually hiring. So we changed the logo, changed the website, are doing some things different. I got a new team who's working on the socials, and it's doing exactly what it's supposed to. It's picking up. So it's keeping me busy. We're getting people to work, helping them with career tricks and advice. We're still doing some of the consulting side, but the focus is definitely back on working with businesses to find the right talent, getting people to work. And so we have a lot of things coming on the horizon for that. So check us out on all of the socials, Procure Talent Management Group, LinkedIn, Instagram, Facebook. TikTok is coming along. I still have never got on the TikTok wagon, but it's coming along. My new team is working on it. We also just created, that I'm very excited about, that you'll hear more on if you're following, is our talent network. So I created a free opportunity for job seekers to join our talent network. So if you go on the website, it's free. And then what you're going to get is blogs, newsletters, tips and tricks to hire and land the job. There's going to be some discounts coming in there, but we're also going to use that as when we start working with these organizations that are looking, we're going to look in our talent network first. So we'll get you right to the hiring managers, those recruiting managers, those HR professionals, and get you to work. So join the talent network. It's free. We are reviewing your resumes when you join and preparing you and linking you with organizations that are hiring nationwide.
That is phenomenal. Y'all hear that? Now, this is one of those times where, you know, what we've built has been so special to us. And like Shatema said, we manifested this. We wanted it, and we started building it, right? And we've come along. And Tema as a co-host has been fun. You know, we have so many things that are just the same and common. Like we have so many commonalities from being Leos, our spiritual journeys. Not that they're the same, but we're very deep in our spiritual journey. It means so much to us. And so I feel honored to have had her start this journey with me. It's been exciting. You know, we have grown a lot, you know, from starting in my house, having my first dog join us.
I just thought about him, the co-horse.
Rest in peace to other little, co-hosts walking around.
Absolutely.
So we've come a long way, and it's been fun.
Sure.
And so I definitely look forward to having you back.
Absolutely.
The podcast is supported by the Black HR Society. You hear us talk about that often. And so the organization wanted to have this episode to celebrate Tima and just kind of take a trip back down memory lane and not just have her disappear from the show and Destiny Child, boom, boom, Tati, and it was gone. They was gone. And so,
there's no beef. There's no drama.
Right. There's no drama. Yeah. So we believe in sharing our own story, right? And not letting people make up the stories when they're absent of fact. So no hard feelings.
No,
Tima,
none at all.
She'll be back, like she said, and she know I'm gonna be calling her, sending her some Leo stuff.
Absolutely. I told you this before. I am Team TJ.
Thank you.
I told you that from the beginning. It was one of the drivers, and even joining the board and participating. I think that the work has been done. We've done some great things in both of the platforms. We've had some excellent guests.
Yes.
A network. I grew up here, and I'm like, I know everybody in Phoenix. And then I meet you, and I'm like, what? What's his name? I've never heard of them before. Where did they come from? So we've had, as far as the growth with our guest and even just our format, I've learned a lot.
Yeah, we've had different producers, right? I think as we go down memory lane, that's one thing to get us started. Our first producer I met on a humbug, same time I met my mentor who's passed on. And I knew it was serendipitous. I was like, we've been talking about this podcast and this lady, and so it was great. At the time, we didn't explore it, but we came back full circle. And that energy there was the same. We did that, and it was going great. And till our launch date, that business sold, and we kind of got in the midst of that. And so just through transparency, we then ended up with a new producer we had never met, and they kind of flipped the show. And so you may have seen our background change. And so we appreciate the journey. It really has helped us grow. It's helped us learn a lot of what you see now. We're doing it ourselves. And so when people say, and they're like, the show looks really good, I think it's an extra pat on the back for us, because the level of self-production that we put into the episodes, and like you said, we dig into our networks to have fun and entertainment, and make sure we bring guests that align with what we do. So it's been a journey. What's been one of your favorite times or parts about having the podcast?
Well, to piggyback on what you said, I think we've learned from all of those different producers and those different spaces being like really green, even initially with just our format. What you guys don't know is that we're not scripted.
No.
Generally, we meet up for about 5 or 10 minutes before we sit in the seat and just bounce off of each other. I've grown to know and get TJ's cues, and we know how to kind of navigate in that space. I mean, it's easier when you're friends, outside of this. That's and have professional respect within our professions too. So it makes it easier to have those conversations. I think we're Leos, so we're just naturally chatty to begin with. We, throw us a mic, put me in, coach. But I think, when I think of the podcast, sometimes we're off. And I'm like, some of our initial ones, I'm like, what the hell is my name? Like,
the email, right?
Who do I work for?
Yes.
So I remember that because we're not scripted. We always said we wanted to be authentically us in this space. And so although we had like a skeleton of a flow, we didn't have, the script to go through. So I think if people really watch, they'll see some of those bloopers where we're like looking at each other like, oh, it's my turn.
Right.
Oh, okay. Say something.
Yes. Which, like we said, it made it fun. Like Tima said, I remember one time, and I do have a little bit of footage, so I'll try and find it and add it in. But we were so chaotic right before the show. I mean, we've got like 4 minutes. The guest is sitting down. It's Brittany from the board. Tima, I'm recording on my cell phone, but she's talking to the producer. She just got there. She's just chatting away. And I'm like, where's my cell phone? Oh, my God, I need my cell phone while it's recording me, okay? And then I finally say, oh, here's the cell phone. And then we sit down. I'm like, Tima, we sit down and we, hey, everybody, look. And so it's almost fun chaos, right? But it's very organized chaos too. But we're like, we have this energy and this synergy that for me works, and it's been fun and exciting to do that. So what's some of the stuff you hate about doing the podcast?
It always seemed to be like our recording times, because we record in the middle of the day. It's hard to get here.
Yeah, the traffic.
It's like, we'll just stop in too, because I feel like you're doing something, in the morning, and then we do it like middle of the day.
Yeah.
So just trying to transition and turn into that space.
Interesting.
Dressing up, I'm really a tomboy, t-shirt, baseball cap, sweat person. TJ wants to get in here with her little knee-high boots on, looking all fabulous. And I'm like, hold on. I'm like, I don't know if I can pull it together. So just getting here and then just trying to figure out, what looks good on camera and it's going to live on the internet forever.
Sure.
It was always a challenge. But beyond that, I don't think there was too many pieces that I hated about being here, because we wanted to be here.
That's still fun stuff. For me, I think about what you said in the, I lost my train of thought. See, that's one of those moments. But the first thing you said, not the dressing up. Y'all know I don't really care about that.
Getting here.
The middle of the day thing. Like for me, once I do the podcast, whatever day it was or whatever I had going on, my work day was pretty much over for me. Like, because like the energy you put into it, like I'm now ready to go have a drink and ready to party. And like, I'm in that excitement point. So that wasn't the piece. I feel like we always have, as we're prepping, right, we'll talk about some of the stuff that we want to hit on in the show. Like she said, it's a very skeleton show. It's not scripted by any means, but I might say I've got the story or I want to do, and then we start talking about it and the conversation is so good and we're like, wait, let's do this on camera, right? And then we get on camera and it falls flat. And so I always hate that, but like that's still even like a fun thing to think back to.
We didn't think about it, but we should have just had one where they just recorded and we didn't, you know what I mean? We just had our normal conversations. We can talk about 10 different subjects in about 10 different minutes, because I think they're a little more candid.
That's right.
Because the HR piece of me is like, okay, be careful what you say. Like
I
that,
know.
You still got to go show up in somebody's employer's office soon, but I think
agree.
Off camera, we're a little more like, did you hear that?
Yeah, we're a lot more hair down. And not that we are super, in a box here, but it is still a little bit of our professional space, right? It's connected to a professional org. But behind the scenes, I mean, we get
like
to talk
a damn
about
sailor.
Dating. That's right. We kind of precursored a conversation to set up a date. Remember that, Shatema, where we talked about it off script or off camera. We were talking about how I was going to invite somebody on a date who was white. I'm just going to say it. And we started the conversation off camera. We then took it on camera. And then off camera, I was like, so do you want to go out?
I was like, she did that.
And he said yes, but it fell flat. Just so everybody know, we did not go out. I have never dated a white guy, still to this day.
I had high hopes for him. I thought it would have been great.
Well, it fell flat, but I'm open to it, just so everybody know. I'm still open to that, which is an episode. Go check out that episode where we dive deep into that aspect, the dating scene. What's been one of your most fun episodes?
I think in retro, after we've recorded, we've talked, offline. We'll be like, hey, what do you think? I think we had a guest that was a little flirty on the eyes. It's my last show, so we might as well put it out there.
I cannot believe you went there.
And we had a good conversation about that. Whether it was imagined in our heads, which I don't believe it was, but I think it was a little flirty, and I think it brought up some good conversations.
My God.
Later. So
it definitely was a little flirty.
Yeah. And it could have been all three of us at one time.
Well, that's what I was going to say. What they say is Leos are organically very flirty, okay? And so we tend to feel like we're friendly in those situations. We're like, how you doing? To the cashier, right? But it's really, in our minds, we're friendly. And so when you have three Leos, hint, hint, it got very what we felt was flirty.
Yeah.
And so there was no lines crossed. Let me be clear about that. But it was fun for you.
Yeah,
huh?
it was. I was like, those are some dreamy eyes. I was like, what the heck is going on? I'm sorry, what was the question, TJ? Can you repeat that?
You lost it. And I remember her telling me that because wow, I could sense the energy. I wasn't picking it up the same as she did until after. I was like, oh my God, like, yeah. And you could see it on film.
Yeah.
So go back. That's another episode.
Yeah.
We gave you some clues. I'll tell you, there was a guest that was recommended to me to come on the show.
Okay.
And so I reached out and I asked this guest, and they were like, absolutely not. And I said, what? Why not? We ain't gonna be sitting on film flirting, right? Because they had seen that episode of their friend, is all I'll say. Is at least what I assumed. There was no receipt or proof of that. But the admission of we not gonna be sitting on film flirting.
Yeah. Which was not the intent. I think, we joke and we laugh about it, but it was just a friendly conversation that we were having. But to your point, I think Leos kind of give out that.
We do.
We giggle a little too much. We're always a little touchy. I have a friend, he's like, you're always touching when you talk to somebody. And I'm like, really? And now I'm like cognizant of that, where you hit someone's leg or brush somebody's arm.
Right.
So,
but see, I felt like this guest was admitting two things. One, outright that they would be flirting with me, and two, they saw the flirting that wasn't made up, right?
Oh,
between what we saw. No. I mean, I'm again go back and watch it, y'all.
Our intuition is high.
We did get into that combo, and it was fun, and it was a great conversation.
Yeah,
there was some gems in it.
Absolutely.
But I love that. That was your favorite episode.
Yeah.
I feel like I don't really want to be biased, but I did have a good time with my hometown homegirl, Nicole, just because Jolly Jane, that's what I call her. She is always like on
bundle of
100,
energy,
right? She is always like, like Shatema said, a bundle of energy.
Right.
You're going to know her in the room. She's going to be loud and sometimes obnoxious to some, right? But she's fun. And I feel like even with that, Nicole is very like poised.
Absolutely.
And she had to admit, she was like, what did you give me? She felt like she was so comfortable here on the show. She dug into personal and professional things. And so to me, that was like a really good, exciting show. We had some
she
good
was a
laughs.
great guest.
She was.
Because it was, going with unscripted. We went into tantrums that were not even a part of what we thought we would talk about in the skeleton.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, even starting the show, this was how chaotic we were. If you go back to that episode, it was the only one that had this beautiful background. It was beautiful. We're in the same studio, but it's just a different room. And we get in there moving the furniture. We want it over here. They was like, no, listen, y'all ain't about to set up this whole. And we ended up very happy and loved that backdrop.
Yeah.
And so just to have those fun gut laughs, to have all those gems, it was a good episode for me.
Yeah. It was nice to get the board out as well. I think we had a couple of board members join. And so that is always nice. Enjoy Brittany's, it was a, part of a dream.
Premonition.
Yeah. I was like, what word am I going to use? Like a dream that I had prior to starting. And it came together. So
the origin story of the name, that's a good one to share.
Oh, that is. So we were talking about doing the podcast. We had got it okayed with the board, the Black HR Society. And TJ knows this, but I'm a dreamer. And so I had gone to sleep and I woke up, and I think I sent it first thing in the morning when I woke up, but I woke up and had this dream that we were on a set. It specifically me, TJ, and Brittany Sudana. Shout out to Brittany. And we were just laughing. We were in a circle, kind of like this setting. We were talking. We were laughing. I remember Brittany had like a red blazer on. And TJ said something like, well, let's talk about it. But it sounded like it was the catchphrase, like it was the name of the show. Like the way she said it was like a prompt to like, well, let's talk about it. And so I woke up that morning and texted the team and said, hey, don't know if anybody cares, but I had this dream and I think this should be the podcast name because it felt like the way that TJ said it was like a premonition to that was the title of the show.
Yeah,
and we
it
went
definitely
with that.
resonated with me because I felt like we wanted to talk about some rich topics. We wanted to definitely, stay in the workplace or have them related to the workplace, but we wanted to be able to talk about so many things. And so we looked it up. There was no other podcast, but there was a couple like episodes or like other people had used the name for things, but nothing specific to a podcast name. So we rolled with it.
Yeah.
We intentionally call it, let's talk about it, the podcast, if you notice, just because, again, we want to coin all of that as a package. And so I was so excited when she came up with it because, one, I'm really particular about the creatives and wanted to feel like us, and that felt good. It felt like us. So.
Yeah, it was super clear. Like, I was like, okay, you're like, well, let's talk about it. I'm like, that's it, TJ.
Let's talk about it. So what do you think you're going to miss about doing the episodes and the podcast?
I meet with different businesses and organizations, and I think that it brings credibility to the role to say that you're on a podcast as a co-host, specifically one that centers around HR topics. It's not 100% HR topics, and that was by design.
Yep.
But I definitely
we're fun too.
HR is fun. So I think I'm gonna miss that piece, that credibility that comes with that. And then just the different guests that we've had on the show. But I also know, and I've known this from the beginning, that it's going to grow and take higher flight than what it already is. It's already have grown since we started 2 years ago, but being attached to where it's going, right? Being a part of that piece was really something that I struggled with in having the conversation with you of wanting to vacate, because I knew when I started and had other premonitions and just synchronicities of that it was the right thing to do. You were the right person to do it with. We, solidified on that name. And so, our spirituality and all the signs were there that greatness is here. Yeah. And so not being a part of that growth was something that I struggled with. So
I'm going to miss the, connection we have in just me being able to come and say, it's 11:11. And you're like, oh my God, if right? Our depth in our spiritual journeys is so real and so organic. They're individual, obviously, but it's real. And like, when we talk about the dream of the name, when we talk about, all of these different premonitions that have come to pass, it is how we know, we're in the right place,
Absolutely.
We're doing the right thing. And so, I know I'll see Tima again.
Absolutely.
And I can call her. I'm going to text her. I'm going to be like, girl, look at this, 444 on our likes, on our posts.
Like, I'm there.
That part to me is very rich. So, thinking about another co-host or even just guests, I may or may not get that, and so for me, that is a part of who I am, and I feel like Shatema is the same way, and we bring that to the show. We bring all good that energy.
Yes,
I know that's
good
right.
Energy.
Ancestor
You're blessed even watching.
Yes. So I'm going to miss that for sure. I know she'll still stick around and be around.
Sure.
Hopefully we can bring her back and talk specifically about PTMG. She is on social. She's been doing the social thing. How you feeling about that, girl? Because there's y'all's answer.
I'm at that Gen X, so I don't love it. I actually even told the team who creates a lot of the socials to stop. I don't want any more socials with my picture on there. So the last couple weeks you have not seen Shatema. I'm like, this is too much. Nobody wants to see that shit every other day. We're not doing that. I'm like, find something else, find somebody else. Do something else. So I'm leaning into it better, trying to be more strategic of what that messaging is, because I really feel passionate where we're at. There's so many people that are struggling with getting work, right? We're in the middle of a government shutdown. Not working is how, working is how we take care of the things that we love. And so I want to be cognizant of that in the messaging that we put out, that we really want to help put people to work. Yeah. But I also, the recruiter in me loves when that organization finds their perfect hire, When you're looking for someone and you can't find anybody, and then all of a sudden I'm like, this is TJ, you're going to love her, just interview her. And they call back and say, oh my God, this is perfect. She aligned with our core values. The interview was great. We can't wait for her to start. That's the win for me, not only for, that person that we placed, because, I'm always recruiting for them. I negotiate for you to get you the highest salary, but also for the organization to get that top talent. So I'm trying to communicate with the team that really creates the content, to be strategic with that, so we can help people and get them to work and help these organizations find the right hires. Because we know as an HR professional, it's hard to find good talent.
It is.
And we know that we hire, sometimes we have HR nightmares in our hiring, and we did not see the red flags.
They put on a great show in that interview.
Oscar worthy. And then you have an HR nightmare.
And once they leave the company, they don't always leave our office.
No.
We're still dealing with the legal stuff, with them. Or even they want payout or vacation. So
claims.
It is exhausting. That's right. Claims.
Yes.
So on the social front, I'm now going to say I'm a micro influencer content creator. There's a period where...
I'm glad you're owning that now, TJ. Well, can I say that?
Thank you. I'm owning it because I'm going to lean into what I want to offer you to help you, because as you know, I didn't always want to own that, even when people were saying that. Just because we are very humble in who we are, right? Knowing that, we know we have things to offer, but we've never been the boastful type.
Right.
And so that humility in us, we want to carry that, and we want people to see that. And so that's why a lot of times we see things on social, and it's a lot, it's over, it's extra, and you see the showy in it, right? They're performing, if you will.
Right.
And we don't want that. Even when we were building the show, we don't want to perform. We don't want to have to fake it. And so when you see me dressed like this is who I am, right? And so what I had to tell myself is like, listen, while I do have my humility, people like me, right? And that was one of those things that I had to beat imposter syndrome up to let myself hear that. Like, people enjoy my energy when they get to meet me.
For sure.
And while Tima's like, we love to talk, I perform when I have to, but I'm an introverted extrovert.
Absolutely.
And I love my time to myself. So my words, I tend to feel like they're expensive when I talk. And so I want to bring value to people. I don't want to just talk to talk. I want to make sure, even when I got in the slump on my creation journey, being a social creator, I had to go inward and say, okay, how do I get to that place where I feel comfortable and good about what I'm putting out and it doesn't feel fake? And so I'm there, just filming myself saying, okay, I'm a realtor. Here's what I did today. I got the podcast. We're recording that. That feels authentic. I don't have to go over and above. And so you got to remember who you are and just kind of let people in on that aspect. You don't have to put on, if you will, and just... It's like letting them see what can be, right? Because we are real people.
Absolutely.
My makeup got to the bottom today, and I was like, I'm going to use all this, and I'm going to dig out. And so I just want people to see, the organic me and the pieces I want to share. So that would be my advice to you. Like, you don't feel like you have to hide who you are, because you have to let your light shine, because you have so much to offer and so much to give. Give what you're willing to, with those boundaries, because that'll bring you that return you're looking for.
For sure. I'm definitely, and TJ have told me over the last 2 years, I'm going to do more video, because to your point, I would say 65, not 70% of the business are referrals from people that I've engaged with. So, we sealed the deal. But all those stock images of Shatema on social has come to a stop.
Well, I want you to think back to our very first time. We did some recordings for the Black HR Society socials at the aquarium. And we all had kind of come with some questions we were answering. And everybody was struggling, right? We would stop, record, and piece. And so I looked at you and I said, just talk to me, right? And I stood there and I said, stop thinking about as a script, just talk to me. And it was one of the best videos that came out of that day, because I feel like, you having to recognize that stop overthinking it like we always do, and just.
I blame HR because off the mic, I have more of a potty mouth and it's a little more candid, but I have programmed myself when in a public facing, right, we're a little more, at least I am a little more cautious of the words I use. I'm making sure I'm not dropping F-bombs at random. And so I think that piece, I'm thinking before I speak, because when you're in HR and people are telling you crazy stuff and I want to be like, what the fuck? Why did they do that? I'm like, that's unfortunate.
Yeah. Well, be unapologetically you, right? If you do, you can still be human and own it.
Sure.
But I think this has been great. I really want to say again, farewell to Shatema.
Thank you.
You have been a fun and fantabulous co-host.
I love it.
The show will go on.
Absolutely, as it should.
Agreed and decided I will host the show on my own, which was a little bit tough to say.
Yeah, it's always been TJ's show.
I'm going to host the show on my own. And so I'll continue to bring on change agents in the community. I'm excited to see Tima fly, her growth. I would never want to stunt that. And so this is a positive thing. While I'm sad to see her leave the chair, I'm excited for her growth. It's meant to be, and she will be prosperous. So thank you, Tima. Let everybody know where to find you, girl.
Absolutely. So I am Shatema signing off as co-host of the Let's Talk About It, the podcast with TJ. But you can find me at Procure Talent Management Group. We're on all the socials. Don't forget to check out our talent network. It's free. It's for job seekers. There's some gems that we're going to be dropping, and be on the lookout. I'm sure I will be back.
You will.
Probably sooner than what you guys think.
I'm hoping so. So as every other show, this show is sponsored by the Black HR Society, making a meaningful difference in the careers and lives of Black HR professionals who in turn help the community. That's you. So if you need our support, reach out. You can email us at askhr at the Black HR Society. You can find us on social, every single platform at the Black HR Society, except Instagram, we're Black HR Society. We look forward to having you back. Again, I'm signing off as TJ Speaks on all social platforms. If you want to be a guest on the show, or if you know somebody who'd make a great guest, email me, TJ at wewannatotalkaboutit.com, because we want to talk about it with you. And until next time, be good and bye-bye.
Bye.